Hey, so welcome to the pandemic. Here we all are, just kind of biding our time at home if we're lucky enough to have a home. And we are hoping that somebody will figure this out. And so work is canceled, school is canceled, basketball games are canceled, political campaigns are canceled. That's a good thing. We get a little break from that. And so what I'm going to do today, Song of the Week Club, is I have a song for you, which I'm going to play at the end of this video. And I'm also going to share with you a quarantine reading list of some book suggestions, because we're all going to have a lot of reading time. This idea came from John, who is a Song of the Week Clubber. Hi, John. And he had the great idea to say, hey, we should share some book reading lists because we're all going to have a lot of time on our hands. So I went and I grabbed a couple of different books from the different bookshelves around the house. And I think I got a good list for you. I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 books for you. And I'm going to do this every week until this quarantine is over. And I would love to hear some of your book suggestions as well. So I'm sitting here at the farm. I got, it's in the background, I got the chicken coop, the broken lawnmower in the background. Elise is up on the porch. I've got my nice picnic table that's been painted orange, the same color as the container. And let's see, I got my books. I got my Chamblin Book Mine coffee mug that we won in Jacksonville, Florida as a part of a raffle. This is a bookstore in Jacksonville, Florida that you should definitely check out if you get the chance. It's like a cave. It's a maze of used books. It's a fantastic place. And I don't know that any of these books came from that bookstore, but some of them did come from my favorite bookstore here in town in New Orleans, Louisiana, which is called Blue Cypress Books. You should check them out if you ever get a chance. We were just there, not yesterday, the day before yesterday, to pick up some new books, which maybe I'll share some of those once I read them. But anyway, okay, ready? Drum roll. Book number 1. I got a good one for book number 1. So book number 1, Swamplandia by Karen Russell. This is a newer book. It's a pretty recent book by a newer author. And it is, let me just read the back for you because you've never read anything like this one before. Okay, 13-year-old Ava Bigtree has lived her entire life at Swamplandia, her family's island home and gator wrestling theme park in the Florida Everglades. But when illness befalls Ava's mother, the park's indomitable headliner, the family is plunged into chaos. Her father withdraws, her sister falls in love with a spooky character known as the Dredge Man. And, I don't want to give too much away, but this is an amazing fiction book. It's kind of like magical realism, but more whimsical and easily accessible than a lot of the magical realism that you think of. Like, you think magical realism, you think of Gabriel Garcia Marquez, 100 Years of Solitude. It's just dense. It's a super big book, and it's hard to take a bite out of it. You have to really want to finish that one. Not so with Swamplandia. Swamplandia is an easy read. It's kind of a spooky read, and it's also quite profound at times. So this is Karen Russell right here, and I believe she's a newer author, and she's quite fantastic. So that's book number 1, Swamplandia. Check it out. Book number 2, I have a more serious one, is Flannery O'Connor's Everything That Rises Must Converge. And Flannery O'Connor was one of my favorite authors for quite some time. She's still up there. She's a Southern writer. She died, I believe, in the late 1950s, early 1960s. She died at 39 years old, so she died quite young. But she's the favorite writer of a lot of your favorite writers, and she's just phenomenal. So let me see. I think there's a picture of her in this book. Yeah, so here she is. That's Flannery right there. And what she wrote about is she wrote about people being forced to confront their own self-righteousness in a lot of cases. So that's the title of the book is Everything That Rises Must Converge. This is a collection of short stories. And the short story of the title, Everything That Rises Must Converge, it's about a guy named Jules and his mother who are going... they're on a bus. They're on a city bus, and Jules is very self-congratulatory because he believes that he is he's very forward-thinking in a time of racial segregation in forget where it happens, maybe in the South, like where she's from. But and he believes that his mother is not as forward-thinking as him, and she's confronted with her doppelganger, a woman of a different race, and she reacts in a way that Jules feels is awkward or not a good way to react, and he, in fact, has to kind of confront his own racism in the course of the story. But it's not just about stuff like that. It's also about religious zealots. You've got serial killers coming across a family at a picnic. It's not bloody, to be clear. It's more suggestive, and it's more inward thinking. So anyway, Flannery O'Connor, Everything That Rises Must Converge. We would all do well to self-examine ourselves, like a lot of the characters have to in this book. So that's number 2. All right, number 3. On Subbing by Dave Roche. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I've never met him before, but I feel like I know him after reading this book. It's quite a thin book, as you can see. It's more of just a collection of, they're almost journal entries, but this is the book that kind of got me into teaching in the first place, because it's a book that's about this guy subbing in different public schools. He largely subs for special education classrooms, and he does in elementary, junior high, high school, and it is, it's uplifting at times, it's depressing at times, it's just, it's an examination of the humanity and lack of humanity that exists in the public school system. So you should check it out. I would also be remiss if I did not say that this was published by Microcosm Publishing, who also published my book that came along with the Taxpayer's Record of God Forgive These Bastards. So Microcosm published this. You should support them too. But really, check out Dave Roche's, however you pronounce it, On Subbing, it's called. On Subbing. You'll love it. All right, so that is, what is that? That's book number 3. Book number 4 is Milan Kundera's Slowness. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hold on, he's a pretty heavy writer. Do I really want to be reading this during the quarantine time? It's a lot of philosophical stuff. It's pretty in-depth. Not so with Slowness. Another short book. Look at how thin that is. So Milan Kundera's, this book is kind of his lightest novel, is what it's considered. And what it's about finding slowness, taking a break in the chaos of modern life. It was published in like 95 or 96 or so. So it's a newer one. A lot of his stuff came out in the 70s, 80s, But this one, well, let me read you a blip from the back and you can kind of get an idea. So it says, underlying this libertine fantasy is a profound meditation on contemporary life about the secret bond between slowness and memory, about the connection between our era's desire to forget and the way we have given ourselves over to the demon of speed. Sound familiar? This is a good one for taking a deep breath and slowing down, which we definitely need right about now, huh? So, Slowness by Milan Kundera. Check it out. Unintended pun, he's a Czech writer. Check it out. All right, Milan Kundera. Book number 5, I think. All right, so book number 5 is The Mercy of the Tide by Keith Rawson, who, Keith is, I consider him a friend. He did some of the artwork for To Risk So Much for One Damn Meal, not the painting, but the graphic design. He did the intro to that zine, and he is an amazing painter, graphic designer, and writer. So this is his first fiction novel, and it's a 1980s sleepy coastal town, fictional coastal town called Riptide, Oregon. And let me read it to you. So it says, sleepy coastal town where crime usually just consists of underage drinking at a bonfire, but then strange things start happening. A human skeleton is unearthed in a local park, and mutilated animals begin appearing, seemingly sacrificed on the town's beaches. So this is just a great, just an amazing novel. It's got a really scary monster in it. I don't want to give too much away. You should check it out, though. This is his first fiction novel. He has another novel that came out after this that's called Smoke City, which is also equally good. Mercy of the Tide by Keith Rawson. Check it out. All right, last one for this week's quarantine tongue twister. Quarantine book list is I don't want to be too hyperbolic here, but I'm going to be extremely hyperbolic. And it is what I consider the greatest story of all time ever told. It's up there with Shakespeare. It's up there with the greatest stories, and it is Sandman by Neil Gaiman. It's a comic book, or a graphic novel if you want to be fancy about it. And it's an epic series of comic books. It's not just one. This is just one from a series. There's a lot. There's like 10 of them. And so it is, let me kind of show you what it looks like on the inside here. All right, so it's about these gods, not gods, they're larger than gods. They're these entities that exist alongside the universe, that were there when the universe was born. They'll be there after the universe ends. And they are the personification of these big concepts. Their names are Dream, and that's Sandman. Dream is also, his name is Morpheus also. You've got Death, of course, Destiny, Despair, Delirium. What else am I missing? Is that all of them? There's Despair, Dream, Destiny, Destruction, Delirium. Is that it?
Desire.
Oh, Desire. Also Desire. And so it follows these siblings. They're considered siblings. Again, they're like these personifications of these larger human concepts. And it utilizes myth, folk tales, nonfiction history. It uses, speaking of Shakespeare, it uses Shakespeare integrated into the stories. It just uses everything. All the body of human work is distilled in Sandman. And I have to thank Nazreen from the Taxpayers, who is the accordion and the vocalist, for introducing me to Sandman back in like 2008 after a show at the Coop, which is a show space in which they lived at the time. So this is going to keep you real busy, and it will also reinvigorate your love for humanity and also your hatred for humanity at times. But this is going to keep you busy for a while. So pick up a copy of Sandman if you can. You can get it undoubtedly at your local bookstore. If you have a local comic book store, they're definitely going to have it. I'm sure you can order it online. Don't get it from Amazon, though. I guess that's it. So that's my final book for this week's quarantine reading list. Thank you for existing. First off, Song of the Week Club. And if anyone else happens to see this, this goes to everyone. Please be safe. I wish you well. I wish you and your family well. And we're going to be okay. Don't panic. Take some deep breaths. Read some books. You're going to be fine. All right, so I owe you a song. I'm going to play you the song that I just wrote. It's called Broken Clarinet. I don't need no toilet paper, baby. Now I don't need no toilet paper, baby. I don't need no TP, I got something much better. I got my broken clarinet. I don't need no mangoes at the grocery. I don't need no mangoes at the grocery. I don't need no mangoes, I got something much better. I got my broken clarinet. I don't need no job to take my time. Coronavirus is not on my mind. I don't need no work, I got something much better. I got my broken clarinet. Good luck.